Before we get to that, we have a matchup of heavyweights. Battle-tested Monte Barrett will take on unbeaten Owen, what the heck, Beck, in an elimination bout. Now, who the heck is what the heck Beck? What the heck is he doing in the top 10? And who the heck did what the heck beat to get there? Given today's heavyweight landscape, not a big surprise. Yes, the Jamaican-born, Nashville-based Beck is undefeated. And yes, he KO'd his last 4 opponents within 3, but largely versus nondescript opposition. Now, he's unbeaten but untested. His toughest fight versus a higher quality guy.
Yeah, he really is. And he's 28 years of age, so this is very late for him to be having his major moment in the sun. He thinks he's ready. He's ranked in the top 10 in every organization, so we'll see if he is ready against a good contender.
And let us take a look at the man he'll be taking on. And that will be Monte Barrett, also from Jamaica, Queens in New York. A tough former street fighter, high school football player, got here tonight by virtue of his last 2 performances. A career best split decision over Dominic Gwynn in Gwynn's backyard of Little Rock, Arkansas. And before that, again, in his opponent's home state, a fight most gave him no chance. He got off the canvas to drop Joe Macy, but lost by majority decision. Al, a resilient fighter, relegated to the role of stepping stone throughout his career. But as opponents are finding out, particularly of late, they'd better watch where they step.
Yeah, you know, he had an 18-month layoff from boxing in which he said he got rejuvenated and fell in love with the sport again. Since then, he's 5-1. Also ranked in the top 10 in all organizations. Monte Barrett thinks at 33, he's finally ready to take that step into a championship match.
His first fight, though, in some 11 months, but he promises that Beck will hit the deck. Let's check the numbers as we go to the tail of the tape. Monte Barrett is 33 years old, 5 years older than Beck. 1.5-inch height advantage for Barrett. The reach all even. At yesterday's weigh-in, Beck outweighed Barrett by 16 pounds. And let's check the key unified rules for this fight. No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental headbutt occurs before the end of the 4th round, the fight's ruled a no decision. If it happens after the end of round 4, they go to the scorecards. So here at the Savas Center, which is really filling up, we're getting ready for Monte Barrett versus Owen Beck in St. Louis. Heavyweight scheduled for 12. Let's get the formal introductions from our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the Savas Center here in the beautiful city of St. Louis, Missouri. Well, fans, we have a big night of action coming away, and it's all brought to you by Don King Productions in association with the Savas Center, Showtime, and the undisputed king of beers, Budweiser. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the IBF, President Marion Muhammad, Supervisor Mahassan Scott, along with the WBC, President Jose Sulaiman, Supervisor Luis Escalona, along with the Missouri Office of Athletics. Introducing to you our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside. From Kansas City, Missouri, Jerry Griffin. From London, Belgium, Bob Logist. And from Richmond, Virginia, Vaughn LaPrade. Introducing our 3rd man to the ring, the referee in charge of this bout, Jay Nady. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing, a WBC and IBF Heavyweight Championship elimination bout. Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing yellow trunks with black trim, fighting out of Nashville, Tennessee, by way of Negril, Jamaica. He weighed in at 234 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with 24 wins, no losses, 18 wins coming by way of knockout. Ranked number 4 in the world by the WBC, number 10 heavyweight in the world by the IBF. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the undefeated Owen. What the heck? Beck. And his his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the red corner in this 12-round championship elimination attraction, wearing red trunks with silver trim, joining us from his home in Queens, New York. He weighed in at a ready 218 pounds with a record of 30 wins, 3 losses. He has 16 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, ranked the number 3 heavyweight in the world by the WBC, number 7 by the IBF. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Monte "Two Guns" Barrett. Once again, our third man of the ring, Jay Nady, now to give instructions. 12 rounds of action scheduled.
You guys have any questions? I gave you instructions for dressing room. Above all, obey my commands and defend yourself at all times. Touch glove now, let's go to work. Thank you.
Some of you may be wondering, why are these 2 men contenders? But such is the state of the weak heavyweight division right now. Barrett, not normally a fast starter, but clearly has a better level of opposition. His last 4 opponents, a combined 90 and 8. Meanwhile, Owen Beck's last 4 opponents, 82, 41, and 4. Beck, who fought 5 times in 2004, originally slated to fight James Toney, but Toney got injured, so Barrett was next. And Barrett has been in there with Vladimir Klitschko, Lance Whitaker, Joe Macy, lost decisions to Macy and Whitaker, stopped in the 7th by Klitschko, beat Tim Witherspoon and Greg Page, both past their prime. Monte Barrett in the red, Owen Beck in the gold.
The win that put Monte Barrett back on the map was the win over Dominic Quinn, and the fact that he'd been beating decent heavyweights is evidenced by the record that you stated before that. And so Monte Barrett's a guy everyone knows he's had talent, Steve. He's just never quite stepped up to the plate. Now he feels like he's got the maturity. Now it's important for him in this fight to really go after Owen Beck.
No need to hold his head down.
Barrett may have raised more eyebrows in defeat when he went down half a dozen times versus Vladimir Klitschko. 2000 in London, he showed tremendous heart. He'll do what he has to do. He's a survivor and knows how to deal with adversity. Speaking of that, from the category you think you've got problems, when Owen Beck was 16, he was accidentally shot in the abdomen. The bullet still lodged in his body, and last December he totaled his car and walked away unscathed. So this is nothing.
Yeah. So far in this match, we have to like what we're seeing. 2 heavyweights throwing lots of punches. Beck just doing a good job of going downstairs, and Barrett trying very much to land that right hand. This is a nice first round, an active first round for a couple of heavyweights.
Tonight's winner in position to fight IBF heavyweight champion Chris Bird, or the winner between WBC champ Vitaly Klitschko and Hasim Rahman.
Stop, stop. Let him go, let him go. Step back, please.
You know, no one's ever questioned Monte Barrett's technique. He's a pretty sound fighter. It's more a question of his passion in there, his aggressiveness, and we're seeing that tonight along with Beck's.
Stop.
When he's on, Barrett
don't push his head down
can
like
box
that, okay?
with almost any heavyweight. His weakness in some of the bigger fights, he would lose his concentration. He'd loop his right hand and left hook. Much more effective when he throws the straight right and the straight jab. Third man of the ring is Jay Nady, who will not be double dating with Zab Judah after the show.
There is some irony there. As fans will remember, Jay was the referee in the loss that Judah had to Costa Zoo, and Judah went after him in the ring afterwards, feeling that the knockdown was called prematurely.
Stop. Don't punch when I say stop.
Subsequently
now box.
Suspended.
I didn't see them at the hotel sharing a cocktail.
I doubt that you will. Judah has other things on his mind tonight. Barrett talked about at times can lose focus. He was very focused in his pivotal last fight. So a nice left hook right hand combination against Dominic Quinn. Very effective weapon. Final seconds of the opening round, scheduled for 12. A heavyweight elimination affair here as the lead up fight to Spinks Judah. Well, Al has more on how tonight's strategy might unfold.
Monte Barrett has sometimes been too passive in fights, not throwing enough punches. He needs to attack. Sometimes he doesn't get leverage on his punches. Instead, they're arm punches that won't do tonight. And Barrett has an excellent right hand, and it can land against Beck. Owen Beck leaves his left hand low, and that will invite the Barrett right hand. He needs to keep it up. More than one jab will keep Barrett at bay during this fight. Monte Barrett can be hit with the left hook, and Beck has a good one. He needs to keep throwing it.
Warm it up. Clean the ice out of the corner, please.
Round 2 scheduled for 12 from St. Louis. Monte Barrett, the more experienced fighter, landing the double jab in the red trunks. Owen Beck undefeated, but doesn't have the level of opposition as Monte Barrett, wearing the gold with the black trim, and that jab of Barrett's is finding a home now. Trying to set up the power punch with the jab, but missed with the right.
Owen Beck is keeping that left hand up much better, and that's why some of the right. There's the hook by Owen, which we mentioned in the keys to victory. That could be very important for him.
And a nice right hand off the